Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the Daughters of Khaine in Warhammer Age of Sigmar 4th edition, using the contents of the Spearhead box set to start with. Today's game is played on the fantastic battle mats from our longtime supporters Mithras Games. Top quality battle mats from New Zealand that have a variety of different designs that can suit almost any battlefield you could imagine. Leading this box set is the Malusai Scathborn character, the Malusai Ironscale. This model is fairly solid for a Daughters of Khaine foot character with 6 wounds and a 5+ armor save. It has a short range shooting attack and can use the same weapon in combat to put out 6 attacks with the crit mortal ability and damage 2. When this model fights in combat, it can choose to have a nearby Malusai unit fight immediately after it, and will also allow nearby Malusai units to reroll charge rolls as well while we're nearby. Like all Daughters of Khaine as well, and you'll see throughout the video, this fighter does have a 6+ ward. Regiment option wise, this unit is able to take any Malusai or Khaine units, and is also able to take 0-1 avatars of Khaine. Next up we have the Blood Sisters, one of 2 different variants of the Malusai Scathborn. They have 2 wounds each, a solid movement of 8. In combat, they have the crit mortal ability with 2 attacks per model, and before this unit attacks as well, they have the potential chance to make an enemy unit have the strike last ability. The Blood Sisters kit can also be built up as a ranged unit variant called the Blood Stalkers. Similar base stats to the Blood Sisters, but they're armed with a 3-shot 18-inch range bow with the crit auto wound ability to get some more of those attacks through to the enemy's armor save rolls. Should this unit choose to not move in the same turn it shoots, it'll be able to use the Heartseeker's ability, which will trigger their critical hits when shooting on a 5+, so getting them in position into a place where they can deal the most damage early is important. Next up we have the Witch Elf kit, which can be built up as one of 4 different options, the first of these being one of 2 Witch Elf variants armed with paired seances. They have the crit auto wound ability to go along with a solid 3 attacks per model, and should the unit make a charge in the same turn as it fights, they'll also get a point of Ren for those attacks as well, making them a fairly nasty unit for their points cost. The alternative Witch Elf build are armed with a single seancer and a bladed buckler. These models do have 1 less attack than the previous version, but will have a 5+ armor save rather than a 6+. Their bladed buckler's passive ability as well means each time the unit makes an unmodified save roll of 6, they'll inflict 1 mortal damage on the unit that attacked them. This does mean that you need to roll saves even if Ren would negate your saves entirely, because you still have the chance to point back some mortal damage. Sisters of Slaughter are the alternate build within the Witch Elves kit, and like the Witch Elves have 2 different variants. These models have the anti-infantry +1 Ren special rule on their attacks instead of crit auto wound, of which the Witch Elves have. This unit is also able to move 3-inch in the combat phase, and it can even pass through the combat ranges of enemy models, though they do need to still end in combat. This gives you the chance to potentially move around enemy models, which is really fun and can make for some really good plays to get into units your opponent thought might have been protected. Like the Witch Elves with bladed bucklers, the variant of Sister of Slaughter here can punch back some mortal wounds potentially at an attacking enemy unit, so exactly the same bladed buckler rule. They also have a special rule unique to them called Dance of Diversion, which makes enemy melee attacks targeting this unit -1 to hit, which is a pretty solid debuff, allowing you to get more attacks in and, stop your opponent getting through as many hits. Though this does come at a cost, because you sort of want more hits coming through for the bladed bucklers to work. Lastly, in the box set, we have Doomfire warlocks. This unit has 3 wounds each and a 5+ armor save, honestly pretty decent for a Daughters of Khaine unit. They have a short range crossbow which can put out a few attacks, and melee have 4 attacks per model mixed evenly between the Riders, Cursed Scimitar and the Darksteed's Vicious Bite. The unit is a very fast cavalry unit with a move of 14, and also able to make better use of the redeploy command when anytime it's used on them. It'll allow them to have a minimum of 4-inch movement, so any roll of a 1 to 3 automatically counts as 4. Really useful. This ability will save them in so many instances and force your opponent to really have to change plans. First up, to add to the initial box set, we have the Hag Queen, a solid foot character and more importantly a priest. priests are great in the new edition of Age of Sigmar, and the Hag Queen has an even better ability than that, with Witch Brew allowing her to potentially give a nearby friendly unit a ward of 5+. For a priest as well, this model is fairly okay in melee, able to deal some decent mortal damage when buffed up. When we're looking at this character potentially leading a regiment, it has the option to take any elf unit that it wants, can take 0-1 avatars of Khaine, and can even take 0-1 coven matriarchs, which are particular heroes from the list, like the High Gladiatrix. Next up, we have the Khainite Shadow Stalkers. This unit is good for one simple reason: its ability. The maneuverability that Shadow Leap gives this unit is incredibly useful on the battlefield. Shadow Leap allows the unit to totally move themselves every turn and set it up anywhere on the table outside of 9" of enemy units. They also pack out a decent amount of attacks mixed between some ranged and melee, and if you're into Age of Sigmar Warcry as well, they have a fully specialised rule set for that game as well. Lastly, we have the Avatar of Khaine. This model is a fun little power piece. In melee, it attacks with 5 Ren 2 damage 3 attacks, and even has a short range shooting attack with a shoot in combat ability. Defense wise, the model has 7 wounds, 3+ armor save, and a 6+ ward like all other Daughters of Khaine, even though it is a giant statue of blood and iron. And if this unit charges into combat, it'll deal some mortal damage. And if you actually charge into a monster, it'll double the amount of mortal damage it's done. Our list today, we're going to be playing with the Daughters of Khaine, and we've gone for the Slaughter Troop ability as our battle formation. What this battle formation will do is give us, once per turn, the ability to make one charge roll, have one of its dice automatically change to a 4. Our first regiment is led by the Malusai Ironscale, who will be our general and taking the heroic trait Master of Poisons. This is a really interesting ability, as we can actually get some wounds through with our Malusai Ironscale, which can actually stop an enemy unit from being able to replenish its ranks. Now, joining this unit, we then have a Blood Sisters unit and Avatar of Khaine filling out its warband. And leading our second regiment is a Hag Queen. This model's been given the Khainite Pendant as well, which is an artifact of power, and what this does is you prick a friendly Daughters of Khaine priest wholly within 12 inches of this unit, and you can give that unit D6 ritual points. Now note, this will be able to use on the priest that is actually carrying the artifact of power as well. Unit wise though, we've gone for giving this unit the rest of our Daughters of Khaine, which means it will have our unit of Witch Elves, Doomfire warlocks, and the Khainite Shadow Stalkers. We hope this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all our future Warhammer Age of Sigmar content.